Official statement from the New York Jets. The New York Jets organization is very proud that Woody Johnson was officially sworn in today as Ambassador of the United States of America to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. As previously announced, Christopher Johnson has taken over the role of New York Jets Chairman and CEO. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Madden NFL 18. And this is going to be our franchise mode with the New York Jets. Now, this may or may not be the first time that you've heard me say that. If you are new to the channel, then it is the first time. But if you're not new to the channel, you would know that I've tried to do this several times before. 3 to be exact. And something always happened that screwed up the series, whether it be the quality of the game, me losing all the recordings, or the save file getting corrupted. All 3 of those things happened. But this is going to be the last shot. Because A, I can take it the most seriously this year. I have a little bit more time I can dedicate to it than I have in the past. And B, this is maybe going to be the last series I ever actually do on the channel. Now, as you can tell, I haven't been the most consistent with content lately. I actually took like a really long break. I wasn't even going to come back, but this Madden actually has me kind of excited to do a series again. And I liked doing the Chargers franchise last year, and I feel it was really well done. But having somebody else do the same team that was much bigger, I think really hurt what that series could have been. Because it could have been much longer and it could have been a lot better, I feel. But it was always in the shadow of the other series. But enough about me. We're here to talk about the Jets. With current owner Woody Johnson serving his duty as America's ambassador to the UK, he has passed duties running the team onto his brother Christopher Johnson for the time being. And let's cut to some live comm really quick so we can see the state of the team as Christopher prepares to take it over. Now, this roster was downloaded on day 1. It might not be official by the time that you see the next episode of this franchise, but I'll let you guys know if anything is different. But this is the quarterback situation. We are going to be going with Josh McCown to start out the season. However, I am not guaranteeing that he will be the quarterback for the whole season, and that is all I will say as far as that goes. Matt Forte is going to be our starting running back for now in the depth chart, but he's more than likely going to be splitting carries with Bilal Powell as long as he stays here, because he is going to be on the trading block. Fullback, I'm not going to run any sets with fullbacks. I actually probably should have cut Horsey off the roster, but it didn't really matter to me all that much. This is going to be our depth chart for receiver. We got Robbie Anderson. Ardarius Stewart is going to be in that number 2 spot. We're going to try him on the outside because I want to get Marquez Wilson going a little bit in the slot because of his acceleration. So that's what I want to do there. Chad Hansen is going to be holding down that 4th spot because I want to give him snaps over Kimbrell Tompkins, who made the roster over Jalen Marshall and Sharon Peak to start the season. Tight end, Austin Seferian-Jenkins is starting. However, I will not be I'll be quick to bench him if he struggles and give Jordan Leggett a shot. That is kind of a murky area right now. Left tackle, Kelvin Beachum will probably be our starter all season. Ben Ajalana is okay, but he's not amazing, so I would rather have Beachum going all year and see if he can live up to the deal that the Jets signed him to. Left guard is going to be Carpenter, our best offensive lineman. We'll see if he can make it through the full season and if he will remain with the team for seasons to come. He's going to be an interesting guy who's on the bubble. It's going to really depend on his play on the field. Dakota Dozier is going to be backing him up, and I would like to give him some more snaps, but his strength is just not high enough to compete in this game, so I don't know how successful we would be if we did that. Center is the worst spot on the line, in my opinion. Wesley Johnson is going to be starting there. Jonathan Harrison is also somebody that we have, though, so if Wesley Johnson starts to struggle, we can definitely throw Harrison in there. He's got a little bit higher impact blocking and higher strength. Otherwise, just about the same player, though. And the reason that the center position is so important, and I don't know if you guys know this, but in this year's Madden, the center's awareness is going to count twice. It's going to count for just the center and for the whole offensive line. It's going to count twice, so keep that in mind when you are building your teams. Right guard is going to be Brian Winters, who just got his extension. I think he's a little bit underrated in this game. I think his strength should be a little bit higher, and blocking could be up by a couple points across the board. I don't really think he's an underrated player. He's actually a pretty good offensive lineman, in my opinion. Right tackle is a disaster zone as well, but it's not as bad as center because at the center, since ratings count twice, it being bad is a little bit more meaningful. But I actually think Brandon Shell could be pretty decent, at least in terms of pass blocking to start the season. The thing that I am worried about the most with him is he has low awareness at only 62 and his strength is only 82. So that is what the offense looks like. It is pretty much a disaster. Our receivers are looking pretty okay, but definitely looking to improve in all areas as of this point. Interior line is just about the only bright spot in terms of position groups on this whole roster. You have the stud Leonard Williams, who is going to be our best player for probably a couple of years going into this. Got Devin Still and Mike Pinnell backing him up, although I have to move Pinnell out because of a move you're going to see in just a second. Muhammad Wilkerson struggled a bit last year, but he could still be salvageable in this game. We'll see how the 69 block shedding lends itself, but other than that, he's actually still pretty solid. He's got 94 strength. I believe he has 93 tackling. He's still got 81 power moves, so maybe he can get back to the level that he was at before last season. And then at defensive tackle, we're actually going to be going a little bit younger. We're going to be playing Mike Pinnell as the starting nose tackle / defensive tackle because his core ratings that matter to me, strength, power moves, block shedding, are all across the board higher than Steve McClendon's are. Strength by 1 point, power moves by 4 points, and block shed by 3 points. Now, his awareness is not noticeably lower. It's only about 6 points lower, so maybe we can get a little bit of production out of that spot. That's the only spot on the defensive line that I'm really concerned about, is the defensive tackle spot. Left outside linebacker for now is going to be Sheldon Richardson, but he is on the trade block along with Matt Forte. Those are the two guys I'm really looking to move. And Sheldon Richardson, the reasons why you would want to move Sheldon Richardson are very obvious. He's in the last year of his deal. The defensive line is pretty cluttered already. He's caused a lot of problems off the field, and he's going to demand a contract that I don't really think is in line with where I see this team contending, especially when we've already paid Muhammad Wilkerson. Jordan Jenkins is going to be backing him up, but I imagine he'll be coming in a lot on sub packages to rush the passer, because Sheldon Richardson is naturally more of an inside guy, so he's not as much of a true edge rusher. So I imagine in nickel packages you'll see a lot of Jordan Jenkins and maybe some Josh Martin too. He's actually got some pretty solid pass rush moves, as you can see right here. He's got that 77 power move. And now, going up the middle, we got Demario Davis, who was part of the Calvin Pryor trade. Darren Lee, I'm going to be giving a spot to start the season just because I think that with the state that this team is in, it is just best to give Darren Lee, former first-round pick, a spot on the defense, a starting spot on the defense to see if he can prove something. I actually think Darren Lee might play pretty well in Madden. He's got great speed for a linebacker. He has pretty decent play recognition and awareness already for a young player. Decent tackling, could use some work. Hit power is alright. Block shed could be a little bit better, but it isn't the worst right now. He's not a pass rusher. The thing I'm really concerned about with Darren Lee is his coverage. And if that can't get better, he might not be a starting player for us. That's really concerning. It's only at 57 overall. And then you got Bruce Carter, who I actually really like. I think Bruce Carter is a pretty solid player. He's not anything spectacular, but he could get the job done as a backup or starting linebacker. And then Spencer Pasinger is going to be occupying that fourth spot, which this depth is going to be a little bit important just in case injuries strike, which they are supposed to with this year's Madden. Lorenzo Molden is going to be getting the starting spot on the right side as the outside linebacker. He has decent pass rushing moves, finesse moves is pretty high, and 84 pursuit I really like. His block shedding is weak, and he doesn't have the greatest tackling overall. It's 79 though, so that's actually pretty solid. His play rec, I don't see his play rec. Oh, his play recognition 69, his awareness is 69. I liked him a little bit over Jordan Jenkins, but by the end of the season they will both be starting outside. Those are two young pass rushers. We'll see if they can progress into useful NFL players. Cornerback is a little bit interesting because Morris Claiborne is actually a solid corner. He has decent ratings. He's got 90 speed and 77 play rec and awareness. His man is pretty good. It's 83. It's not the greatest. He has good press. His zone is weak though, and that's where this creates a problem because all the other corners on the other two corners that we're going to be playing a lot have really good zones. So we're going to have to try to find a balance somewhere. Maybe ultimately Morris Claiborne just doesn't fit the way that we want to build our defense, which I'll talk about in a later episode because I do have an overarching plan for both sides of the ball that I want to discuss. But for now, we'll be trying to balance a little bit more man and zone, even though our second and third corners aren't the greatest man corners. Now, that does mean that Justin Burris and Darryl Roberts might get opportunities. If we want to play more man coverage as the year goes on, if we think that we can take advantage of Morris Claiborne against number one wide receivers, which is a weird thought to think about, but if we think that we should run some more man, then we'll try and give the young guys a shot. We might just decide to anyway, because more than likely, these guys aren't going to be on the team next year, any of them. Safety-wise, I think we're pretty set for now. The problem that I think we're going to run into is we have two natural strong safeties fighting for a free safety and a strong safety spot. Now, We're going to be starting Jamal Adams at strong safety for now. However, I think that he actually has ratings that lend themselves to a free safety very good. He already has 82 man coverage. He has decent strength. He has great speed, though. He has 91 speed, 72 catching, good because you're going to want to break on the ball. 82 tackling, so he's a solid tackler. 90 hit power is a lot better for a strong safety, but still. Pursuit 84, block shed 71. He's a guy that you would probably want to put into the box a little bit more, but I actually think that he has pretty good ratings to play free safety. If Marcus May struggles, we can end up flipping them, because if you take a look at Marcus May, he's only 74 overall, his awareness is a little bit low. He also has 90 speed and acceleration, but he has only 73 zone coverage, 68 catching, 77 tackle, 87 hit power. He's basically a Jamal Adams light. He's a little bit worse at everything than Jamal Adams. But if it helps with the team a little bit, we can switch them as the season goes, because I actually think that Jamal Adams has pretty good ratings to play anywhere, honestly. And we'll try to mix him up. We'll put him in the box. We'll put him high. We'll put him as strong safety. Kicker is going to be Chandler Catanzaro. And our punter is going to be Lachlan Edwards, although that probably won't last for very long. Probably just this season. It's a fix. We'll see what we can do to address that in the offseason, because they're both not very good. Elijah McGuire is going to be returning kicks for us. I have Jordan Todman as our number 2 kick returner, but I want to get Elijah McGuire some XP. This is always what I use these spots for: kick returner, punt returner. I always use them for a guy who has a lot of speed and pretty decent raw stats, but just needs to work on some stuff. Like, as you can see, Elijah McGuire has 86 carrying and 82 elusiveness, but he needs to work on his ball carrier vision and other things like that. So I want to give him the kick returning opportunity so he can get some extra XP. He's also going to be the punt returner. Kickoff, Chandler Catanzaro. Long snapper is going to be James Carpenter, but that doesn't really matter. And then our third down running back is actually probably going to be Bilal Powell. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, we're going to cut back to the post-com, because that is the end of our roster rundown. So after taking a look at the Jets roster, here's a look at the Jets schedule, and it is a rough one. Taking on the Bills, Raiders, Dolphins to open the season. Jaguars, Browns, it's kind of an easy stretch. Those teams should be pretty even, probably a little bit better than the Jets, but a pretty even matchup overall. Patriots, Dolphins, Falcons, Bills, Bucks before the bye week. That is going to be a rough stretch outside of the Bills. And then after the bye week to end the season, Panthers, Chiefs, Broncos, Saints, Chargers, and Patriots. That is a brutal stretch for a team without a lot of talent. I would not be surprised if this team does not win a single game this season. I would say best case scenario would be 4 wins. This is a brutal schedule that they are going to be facing this year. But that's how Jets fans expected it coming into the season anyway. It is going to be a long ride, but hopefully it will be worth it in the end if the Jets can build a contending team based on the rough rebuild that they face. That is going to do it for the inaugural episode of the Jets franchise in Madden 18. It might be a few days before I get the second episode out, and that is not due to time or anything. It is just due to the fact that there are things that need to be adjusted within the game itself. I want to see what the best way to play the game is. I want to wait for a good slider set to come out. I want to see if a patch is going to come out anytime in the next few days, because there's supposed to be a day 0 patch for offline, which is how I play my franchises. So we will see when the next episode comes out, but this is definitely something I'm going to be committed to. Probably going to be uploading at least 3 times a week, I would say. Every other day would be a rough target. Anyway, that does it for this first episode. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more Jets franchise in Madden NFL 18.